Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Sorry for not recording last week. It's entirely my fault. My semester is about to end, and I've been thinking too much. I've had to write way too much. I've had to think way too much. Um, and as you can probably see by just looking me, I'm not as fresh as Artem today. That is all entirely due to philosophy, and we will get into that. We'll we'll say bad things about Western philosophy today. I don't know. Artem might want to argue, but at least I know what I'm here to do. But there is football going on. The RPL is still going on. The world's biggest match is about to happen on Thursday. We'll get to that as well. But Artem, how are you? What's up? What do you want to discuss first?
I'm not too
And
bad.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to discussing your philosophical topics. I'm sure you'll have something to say about the train, or like some other stupid theory that they taught you in college. So
yeah, they say dumb shit all the time, man. It's like it's so far like they have the right intention, right? But then they just fucking like philosophy is about life. Philosophy is about how to live life, and it's very simple. And you look at all the Eastern people. They said stuff thousands of years ago, disappeared, and then that's it. People just took that, they adapted it to their lives. It's very simple, it's very engaging, everyone can understand it. And these Western man, they say some simple shit, but then they just twist and turn it, they make it so academic, right? You have to write perfect response papers, you have to like perfectly analyze something, and it's just so rigorous that it leaves the bounds of practicality. You're not discussing life anymore, you're just discussing random shit. Like
you know what I
what
hate the most
will
about it though. It's it's
yeah
it's the way that like you're meant to express what you think about something, but then if you think something different to what the lecturer thinks, you're wrong.
it's the fact that you need to have independent thought, but you need to cite it. Like I don't want it's me, I thought of this. I don't want to cite that shit. And it's just like the philosophers say simple shit, and then there's also this, right? All of your papers need to be perfectly written, perfect grammar, perfect fonts, and then you read the shit that these motherfuckers wrote, and it is so hard to read. Like it is so extremely hard to read. The sentences are 500 words long. It's like, fam, give us some leeway. And it's just thing is, philosophy is supposed to be, everyone has a different philosophy, right? But for some reason we just taught about these old white dudes, and we're just supposed to take what they said as like gospel, and all the definitions are there, all the terms are theirs. So
I feel I
yeah,
feel
it's not fair, man.
like the first person I thought of when you said old white dudes was Ralph Ragnick.
Look at that, that's a beautiful thing. Because oh my, look, Ralph Rangnick, right? Now I have never seen as much dick riding done for Ralph Rangnick as I have for any human alive. Any human in history, even. Religious leaders have not had this much dick riding done for them as I have. Fam, they are treating this man like he is Jesus. Like he can stop global warming, he can end poverty. They are the words they're using for him. Someone called him the godfather of gegen pressing, and I almost threw my phone away. Like, fam, they're treating him like God, man, and he's not that good. He killed Lokomotiv. Lokomotiv don't exist. Look at that. Lokomotiv lost to Ural. They lost to Ural because of this, man. So
No, Hanu, they lost because he left.
no, they. It's like Ralph Rangnick actually might be the perfect analogy for colonialism, right? Because he came in, then they do all their promises. Oh, we're going to improve this, we're going to do that. You guys don't know how to do shit. We're going to improve you, and then they just completely destroy you, and then they just dip without any accountability. So yeah, that's Ralph Rangnick.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
So do you want to
this
get
is the
in?
type of shit that got me. This is the type of shit that got me fired from my last gig. But yeah, RPL.
Well,
What do you want to talk about?
luckily you're not working for Locomotive, but I'm sure if you ever need a job there, I'll be sure to send them with this clip exactly. So you won't be working there anytime
Yeah,
soon either. But I think we should get into the RPL games. We should cover them quickly.
yeah.
We'll talk about those. We'll talk about the European games, a bit of fantasy football as usual, and then we'll get into the old white dudes saying stuff.
Yeah.
So Hanu, did you watch any of these games?
Surprisingly, I watched. more than one game of RPL football this week. I watched Zenit Rostov, and by the way, the dogs, the dogs have taken over the world.
Oh, that was
Zenit's
top
dogs.
class.
It like I hate to admit that it was top class. I have a fear of dogs as well, but even I was like, you know what, fam, fair enough, right? PR masterstroke. I'm seeing random Indians talk about this. I'm seeing Indians from my school that have never heard of Zenit post these dogs on there. Like these guys, PR masterclass, absolute masterclass, and really cute initiative as well. Fair play to Zenit for that. Very very wholesome.
Yeah,
But
but
this
you
game,
know it
yeah,
was amazing as well. Like there was so many like really famous people, blue ticks on Twitter all over the
yeah,
place, like sharing it and saying like, "Oh, Zenit are my new favorite team or my second team or whatever," all this kind
yeah,
of stuff. And it's like, Jesus, like it was like you said, a PR masterclass, and
yeah,
just fair play to Zenit, fair play to everyone who put that together because it's gonna be
yeah.
great for the club.
Yeah, 100%. And this game was pretty fun as well. Rostov, both of Rostov's goals were pretty nice. Like the arm twist run in the first one. Claudinho's goal was very good. Um,
Yeah, so
but I didn't know. Yeah, go on.
no, well, I was just going to discuss those goals. Like, obviously, Polos scored a
Yeah,
penalty. Alkmaar got taken down in the box. Polos finished it off. Komlichenko fouled Rakitsky. Ended up scoring a screamer.
yeah,
That goal went to VAR, but was allowed. Claudinho came
yeah,
and scored an absolute screamer of a volley. Then put a penalty away later on in the game to put Zenit at 2-2, and that's how the game ended. Hanu, like, alright. I said Nikolai Komdachenko failed Rakitsky. Do you think that was the case, or do you think that it was a fair challenge? Because for me, it was just obvious. He was
yeah,
closer to the ball than Rakitsky was, right? So he was onside, right? But Rakitsky was running, and he shouldered him, and it wasn't shoulder to shoulder, like it was shoulder to back
yeah.
or shoulder to chest. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it wasn't like a 50-50 challenge. It was clear that Komlichenko had Rakitsky in an awkward position and managed to push him over. Like I
Yeah.
think even he was a bit surprised when the goal stood.
Yeah, I think it was a foul, to be fair. I think it was a foul, yeah. I thought they would overturn it, but surprisingly they didn't.
Same. I was
Um,
shocked. Like I thought, it's like I was watching the game live, and when I saw that, I was like,
yeah,
okay, grand, yeah, we'll get to VAR, and it'll only be 1-0
yeah.
still, and it's fine. But then when they gave it, I was like, sorry, like, are we watching two different things? The ref got to go
Hmm.
over and have a look at it, and still gave it, and I just don't understand why. But look, Zenit got a
He
point
just
in the
thought
end.
he just thought the finish was too good to rule out, which I get it. I get it.
Honestly, yeah, if I was a
Finish
ref,
was
that's
great.
exactly how I'd do it. I'd be like, look, it was the most obvious red card I've ever seen, but you have to give it to
Yeah,
him. It went right in the top corner.
you have to give it to him. Exactly. Exactly. That's how it is. That's how it should be.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, Rostov only at 27% possession. I didn't recognize that. Um, what else we got?
yeah.
We
So,
got um, we got CSK, Ejuke. Great work from Ejuke. That's all that really matters.
yep.
Um, and then we've got the biggest club in Russia. Um,
The biggest club in Russia who got shouted out on comment show. I have to say that was impressive, Hanu. I was watching that this morning,
yeah,
and I saw that all the guys on comment show. That's the commentator show on YouTube. They had
yeah,
uh, Yevgeny Savin Krasava on this week, and before he came on, they were talking about how Spartak in English overtook Zenit. They made a joke about how at least they're overtaking them in something, but
yeah. I
you do
heard of that. I heard
you,
that. Yeah.
you do have to give respect there. So Hanu, you're making it in the you know you're one of the big names now. You're being called out.
Yeah,
It's only a matter of time until they call you by name up there.
I hope that happens because that'd be sick. That'd be sick. Let's be honest. But yeah, one day we'll get into the full specifics of the Napoli beef, which is an episode on its own. That shit was insane. Um, but yeah, I didn't expect it to go that far. Like I didn't, cause we meme everyone, and it's like Spalletti took that shit really seriously. He
Yeah.
went into a press conference. He went into a press conference against like a game for Lazio against Lazio, and he just willy nilly started just attacking us. There are serious clubs in Russia, and Spartak isn't one of them. It's like, fam, it's not that deep. Like Twitter has you properly rattled. Um, but yeah, this game, Victor Moses, my player of the season, he got his first goal contribution in the league, which was surprising. Um, Good finish from him. Sobolev, did you see Sobolev's red card?
Yes, I did. I didn't think it was red at all.
Yeah, that referee was horrifying, dude. The Arkhipov fella, he killed two of our players. Got like I don't think he got a yellow card.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, I
just a
don't.
bad ref. Quincy Promes came through,
Yeah.
which was nice.
No, I think it was the deserved win for Spartak, but like, oh, that red. Like, the still image makes it look a lot worse than it was, really.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think that there was any malice from Sobolev. So
yeah, it was a direct red, and because we were like we scored early, and then it was looking like we could score a fair few, but then we just went down to 10 men, and it was and yeah, it was. By the way, if you look at it, we had less possession again, and this is a very common theme. If we have less possession, we win. If we have more possession, we lose. Um, so
I was so
I hope
confused
we
there
never
for a
have
second.
possession.
I was watching the like instead of looking at the possession stat, I was looking at the pass accuracy. I was like, how did
Pass that.
67 to 78? I was like,
Yeah,
how does that add up to 100?
yeah. No, so we do not want the ball. We don't
No.
want the ball. Um,
Ural beat Lokomotiv. That was a surprising enough result. I didn't actually watch this game, but before I called that Hudyakov would get a clean sheet, and I almost captained them in fantasy. So thank God I didn't.
yeah, he almost captained.
Although saying that, my captain didn't get any more points than him. So
Who was your captain?
Zuba,
Okay.
they both
I
got two
think he's my
points.
captain as well. But yeah, man. Lokomotiv are in free fall. Uh, Mr. Jizdol has 2 wins in 9 games. So
Bring Nikolic back.
thoughts and prayers. Yeah, bring Nicholas back. Thoughts and prayers for Ilya. Thoughts and prayers for Loco. Um,
Can I just say
Spartak, by the way, yeah, go on.
no? Say your piece about Spartak, and then I'll make my
I'm
comment.
saying Spartak are somehow just 3 points off top six.
Yeah, they are. But my
Bit mental.
piece is that Ural are now only one of two clubs that don't have a loss in the last 5 games.
Respect.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like they
that's
have four
crazy.
draws and a win in their last 5. That's mental. Like they have been doing a lot better. They've been their draws are 2-0 alls and 2-1 alls. But like Jesus, like they
Look at
actually
the
probably will stay up at
yeah,
this point.
like the teams in the bottom three have a better record than a lot of the teams in like the top six.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Spartak don't have a great record, but that's fine.
Spartak's
Um,
record is worse than Ural's at the moment.
yeah, it is. It is. Um, yeah, man. But is there any other game we want to discuss, or do we want to talk about Europe?
We can mention them quickly. Himki lost to Arsenal Tola after going 1-0 up. Um, Mirzov scored a penalty. He actually missed the penalty first, and then the keeper was off his line for the penalty, so ended up getting a retake and slotting it in. Bryony Doe got a red card in that game. Evans Kangwa with a goal, and David Ashvili as well. I hate when this happens. Nizhny Novgorod surprisingly beat Rubin Kazan. Uh, Kalinski scoring 2 goals,
Hairdryer scored.
and the hairdryer scoring again. He's just on the score sheet every week
He's
at
the
this point.
third top. Yeah, he's the third top scorer in the league now somehow.
That's mental.
Which is yeah.
Dinamo dispatched Ufa, who had 2 red cards. Like as soon as they got the first in the 6th minute, it never looked like they were gonna lose. Or
Yeah.
I mean Dinamo, it never looked like Dinamo were gonna lose. So it was a fairly comfortable game for them. Denis Makarov scored the first, and Zaharan scored the second. And final game of the weekend was Sochi against Krasnodar, where Sochi went 1-0 up, and then lost to a Victor Klassenpreis, uh, Krychowiak getting a red card towards the end of that game. So very interesting. It leaves the table for this week because Sochi, who had been third, have not now dropped down to fourth. Krasnodar moving up. Dynamo are really giving Zenit a run for their money. 2 points in it. It looks like they're going to be the top two for this season anyway, Hanu. Like, would you agree with that at this point?
Yeah,
Like,
I agree with that. And
it doesn't look like there's any other team that, like, okay, there's a whole winter break and stuff like that. You never know what can happen, but it just seems like those two teams are in a comfortable enough position that even if they drop points, they should be top two.
yeah, they definitely should. And a football manager always makes Dynamo insane. So that's another thing to add to that. And next week is Zenit Dynamo, which should be fun.
Ooh, that's a really, really
So
big game to cap off the,
the
the,
year,
the year. Yeah, exactly. Um,
yeah,
but we'll quickly jump onto the European games, I'd say, yeah.
yeah, the biggest games of the year, not this one.
The biggest, yeah.
But
This one might be the smallest game because at this point, both Chelsea and Juve are through, so Zenit can't do anything. Zenit can't come in fourth; they're cemented in third. So, like, this game actually doesn't really matter at all. Still gonna
yeah,
watch it, but it doesn't matter at all. The ones that do matter are this one here: Spartak against
Th-
Legia.
this this one here,
The
right?
relegation battle.
This is I have seen my club go four Champions League finals actually, and I can comfortably say I am more stressed about this game than I am for any of those games. Me and Anton, we have discussed every possible permutation. I wrote it down on paper and sent that to you as well. But we have discussed everything: the history of the clubs, the past records, the vibes, the confidence. We've discussed even the karmic aspects of it. We have gone through everything. We've looked through those statistic sites that give you a chance. And this is like, if we win this, it will honestly be like proper, just pure happiness. And if we lose, it will be the most sheer complete pain, basically, right? To stay in Europe, we just need a draw. If we get a draw, we're at least third. Um, and if Leicester beat Napoli, we're at least third, right? So, but like anything can happen in this group. We could be first, second, third, or fourth. So it's very stressful. Legia are horrible, by the way. Legia
Yes,
are
yes, they are.
awful. Legia are awful, but we know about being awful as well. So yeah, man. What do you think of this game? What do you think is gonna happen?
I think you're going into it in a very good position. Sobolev, obviously, he had a red card, but that just means he played less than half the match at the weekend. He's going to be completely
He's
fresh for.
suspended. He's suspended for this one.
Is he?
Yeah, we
Shit.
don't have
Okay,
strikers.
that is
We
not
do not have strikers.
that is not great. And you're playing at the Polish Army Stadium, by the way, so expect some big moves. But okay, that isn't great. Now that doesn't fill me with
Yeah,
confidence, but you should still be able to get some kind of result. Like, I'd be surprised if you went and didn't get at least a draw. But saying that anything
yeah,
can happen, it's the last round, and
exactly.
all Legia need is a win, and they're staying in Europe despite their dreadful season in the league. Like,
Yeah,
that would make a huge difference to them. You know, both on the vibe of their season, financially, like
yeah,
it could even build momentum for them. So you just never know. But I'd be confident enough that Spartak could be staying in Europe one way or another. So I hope that's what will happen.
yeah. It's gonna be stressful. Let me tell you that much. Because with every goal, the thing is gonna change across two games.
Yeah.
Um.
The best
So
thing
yeah, we need
Spartak
God
can
for
do
this one.
is an early goal because then you're like,
Yeah, honestly.
I just need not to concede two.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be great. But it's you can never tell. You
Yeah.
can honestly never tell. It's just anything can happen, and it's gonna be stressful. But we need God. So if you believe in God, even if you don't believe in God, pray for Spartak. Let's win. And yeah, Like it would be so Spartak, by the way, to finish fourth in a group with 7 points by after beating Napoli twice. But it would also be very Spartak to top a group and be like near the relegation zone.
Yeah,
So anything can happen.
absolutely. Um, and then the other game, which is really important this week, is Marseille against Lokomotiv. Now, both these teams have been fucking shit in Europe this season. The only difference is that one of them has been more shit than the other. If Lokomotiv can somehow get a win against Marseille away from home, it's a lot of ifs, I know. They will come third in that group and will go to the Conference League, and they're good enough to be one of the better teams in that Conference League. So I'm really hoping that they can pull a result off against Marseille, but I'm not confident.
Yeah, they need that shit house, man. They need the shit house. They need the 89th minute 1-0. That's the type of stuff they need.
Yeah,
Um,
that's exactly it.
do you think it will happen?
Locomotive?
Yeah.
No. Unfortunately, no, I
Mm.
don't think so. Like, I think if it was Nikolic in charge and they had some of their other players fit, like, is Zhemaletnov and Smolov still not fully fit? The both of them.
Smolov's playing, but since Nikolic left, he's been playing like fucking, I don't know,
Yeah, see,
Evgeny Markov.
this is the annoying thing. It's like he was getting into some deadly form. Zhemaletnov was in the
He
form
was.
of his life, and now they just don't look like a team. Like fucking Kirk playing and just just useless, just absolutely useless. So it is. It's really annoying. I really hope that they can shithouse themselves somehow to win. Yedvire or something grabbing a goal, and they sit
Yeah.
back for the rest of the game. But I wouldn't put my money on it.
Yeah. Listen, man, you know the saying: if it isn't broke, then don't fix it. It wasn't broke.
Well,
The team
look,
was not broke at all.
Ralph
And then
Ragnick.
Yeah, Ralph Rangnick, you need to answer. Run from it, hide from it, but one day, one day you will have to answer.
Ralph Ragnick, we are outside. Come catch these
Come
hands.
outside. Yeah, come catch these hands. Ralph Rangnick, just like then go on a train. Just go on a train. Go on any train, and you will see what happens to you.
Yeah, the Trans
Um,
Siberian specifically.
yeah, he wouldn't make it out of that.
No,
He would definitely not make it out of that.
no.
Um,
But
but
moving
yeah,
on
man.
from that,
Uh,
and just as important
fantasy.
league, fantasy. I'm at the top now, guys. You need to give me a challenge
Yeah.
because at this point I'm just buying myself a jersey.
Mm.
Hanu is coming in third. He's looking good. He's only about 21 points behind me. David is 24 points behind me, and Bart
Bart Simpson. Bart
Bart
Simpson is a
Simpson's in second. He's 5 points or 6 points behind me. So it's
yeah.
it's heating up at the top.
Mm.
One game before the winter break. I keep saying international break. Winter national break.
Mhm.
What,
That's next year. That's in 2022.
yeah, that's
The
true. Actually,
international break.
that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. So one game until the winter break, and then we get to recoup. Um, but yeah, that's how it's looking. Ilia's league is also going on. I think I'm maybe second or third, and then
Yeah.
Ilia's somewhere up the top as well. He's definitely not cheating, by the way. Definitely not. And
Not at all.
and yeah, I guess that's about it, as much as we want to get into fantasy. So Hanu mentioned at the start that he has been struggling with his philosophy assignment. So right now we're gonna help him with it. Okay. So here we've got the greatest
Yeah.
philosophers of all time. Um, Hanu is
And
there.
me.
Hanu's on the list.
Yeah. Exactly. I
He
am the greatest philosopher of all time.
he made the cut.
I
So
am.
um,
Yeah.
Hanu, talk us through
Um.
why Western philosophy is useless.
Yeah. I was gonna talk about Oxxmyron there, but it's not in
Oh,
line.
that could
It's
be
not in line with
that
the
could be an interesting one actually. For those of you who don't know,
Oxymoron is the yeah, he's the second greatest philosopher of all time
okay, who's the
after me.
first?
Yeah, me.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
But yeah, his album came out. Uh, Artem, what do you think?
I really like it. Like I think there's 22 songs on it or something, and maybe 10 to
Yeah.
14 or something like that I've put in my liked. Like it is a really good album. Like there's some very good songs in it, but the only thing I don't like is the transition from song to song. I feel like
Yeah.
with a lot of other Oxxmyron albums, it moves quite
Mm.
smoothly from track to track, and that's probably because like one of his albums, actually two of his albums now are mixtapes. So like
Mm-hmm.
it's exactly what they're supposed to do. But
Yeah.
even other ones, like even older ones like Gorgord and stuff like that, it's just like they were much smoother. I felt going from track to track than this one is. Now saying that, it still, like I said, had some really good hits. Some uh, very how do I even say this, like high energy songs, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
That I like and stuff like non-fiction is good. The first song on the album, the intro is really good. Um, I like the song Eminem. I like Dreidel. I like. There's a ton of other songs. So overall, I'm gonna give it like a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. It's definitely better than the albums that Drake and Kanye brought out this year. So I'll give them that. But Hanu, as someone who doesn't speak Russian but listen to the album, what do you think?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. Um, Maybe if I understood what was being said, I would give it more.
I'll
Um,
tell you one thing. Oxymoron is known for like trying to use like the most complicated Russian language
yeah,
of any like musician or rapper in Russia. So like, Jesus, people who are learning Russian can't understand them, but like even a lot of Russian people just do not understand what's going on in the songs. Like, and
yeah,
like I have to admit, like there have been songs like I don't know, this album I didn't feel like it was that much, but like there's other songs and different albums and stuff like that where you listen to a song, you're just like, what the hell is he on about? But he just uses this wild vocabulary and stuff to describe things. So it is what it is. So you're giving it a 6.
yeah. I'm giving it a 6. Like I guess music makes more sense when you have like background of what else is going on. So like
Yeah,
you have some sort of relativity. But I don't listen to much other Russian music, so like I had to compare this to regular rap, which is probably not the fairest comparison. But I liked it. There's some nice songs, nice flows. I liked like I listened to interviews of him in three different languages, and
nice.
I could only understand one of them, but it was like sick regardless. Uh, and I looked at this German interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the comments, everyone's like, "This guy speaks better German than most German rappers."
Yeah,
It sounded so natural. Then you look at the English one, and it's the same. He speaks perfect English. It's just um, sick. And then Russian, obviously, well, he is Russian, so he's going to speak Russian. But
but saying
yeah,
that,
it's
like
it's mental.
I always am impressed with how good his Russian is because I think he spent only 6 years or something of his young life in Russia. So like
Yeah,
when he was young, he moved to Germany. Obviously, at the start, I think he moved to like Jesus Dresden or somewhere like that, and then he ended
yeah,
up moving to London, um, and that's where he like had all his teenage years, and he studied in Oxford and all this kind of stuff, and then he only
yeah,
moved back to Russia afterwards. So like yeah, like obviously Russian is always going to be his main language, but I am always surprised that like okay, not so much as since he's moved back to Russia, but like how he's kept up the language and how he does know it better than anyone
yeah,
else. Like it's almost like he reads the dictionary. It's mental. Like
yeah.
um, but yeah, like to be fair, like 6 isn't bad. Are there any songs that you listen to that like you were like, oh, that's actually pretty sick?
There were a couple, man. I don't remember the names exactly. But there are like two songs. I think one's near the start and one's in the middle-ish. I'll tell you after the pod maybe. And I was like, yeah, okay, no, this is sick.
Okay.
This is sick. Um, but yeah, man, it's nice. Oxymoron may be the most educated rapper, number one.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. To be honest, like he's very educated and he's a smart guy. He's very politically aware. Not afraid to
Yeah.
speak out on issues in Russia and elsewhere and stuff. So he's a very very smart bloke, and obviously graduating from Oxford is no easy feat. So
Exactly.
fair play to him.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
but in terms of Russian rap, you know who you might like? There's a rapper called Miyagi.
Yeah, I have heard that. I love that I Got Love song. That shit's hard.
Yeah, yeah,
That,
yeah,
you
yeah,
heard that?
yeah, yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good song.
Yeah, there's a few like there's like Brooklyn. There's like obviously there's other ones that have more of a Russian influence. Like he speaks a bit of English in Brooklyn and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah, he is good.
Yeah. I know you like the Azeri boys as well, the two of them.
Oh yeah, they're great, but that's not rap though.
What is that?
That's like sad boy times music.
Fair enough. Yeah, we had
Like
because yeah,
like
yeah.
it's all just really like slow love songs, but they're just beautiful. I'm talking about Ralph and Fike for anyone
Yeah.
listening. Two lads from Azerbaijan. You've probably heard like if you ever use TikTok, a lot of their songs are on TikTok and stuff like that. Where
Yeah.
a lot of their songs became popular first, and then they started translating some of the songs into English. But to be honest, I always find that the Russians
Yeah.
ones are so much better. But they're just top class. I
Yeah.
like some of Basta's old stuff. He's
Mm.
good. He used to be.
Yeah. I've heard of, yeah, Basta. He's the Rostov guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Um
And then Noise MC and stuff as well.
yeah.
They're good. Oh, Hannah, you'd
Yeah.
love
It
the
was
versus
Spotify.
battles. You'd love the versus
Yeah.
battles if you could.
Well,
I'd honestly pay for you to get a Russian tutor just to teach you the words they're saying in the versus battles so that you can listen to them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we're gonna get there. We will get there eventually. Slowly but surely we're gonna get
I
there.
hope so because you have so much culture to be filled in on, and I kind of want to join you on it. Like I'd love to watch it again.
Yeah, no, it's like it was Spotify Wrapped Week, by the way, guys. And me and Artem are both officially Drake stans.
Yeah,
We are Drake stans. Number one was Drake for both of us. Um, I think Artem's top song was Lemon Pepper, which is sick. No, it
was
was
it?
it? It was your top Drake song was Lemon Pepper. I don't know if your top song was Lemon Pepper.
Uh, Let me check.
And the funny thing was Artem's that aura thing was hype and sad,
Yeah,
which was funny.
yeah. No, my favorite
Um,
Drake song was Lemon Pepper Freestyle. That's kind of surprising to me, to be honest. I don't think I listened to that one that much, but it must have been just earlier on in the year. But
yeah.
we both got in like the top 0.5% of Drake fans, didn't we?
We did. And for some reason, my overall thing, like it said, I was more than 95% of the listeners in the United States, but I don't live
Yeah.
in the United States.
Well, that's because
And I
your
saw someone
Spotify is
else.
fake.
Yeah, true, it is. And
So that's the reason.
someone else, some Indian, put up like they had like 48,000 minutes, and
Mm.
they were in 99%. I had like 64 or some wild shit.
Did you
So
see
I was like, fam,
did you see the girl from Canada who was like, you have more than 100% of Canadians, and she had like three hundred
that's
and
mad.
sixty thousand hours.
Jesus Christ, that's
So,
mad. That's an entire year, isn't it? That's almost has to be like more than half. Case for
yeah,
an
it
entire
was.
year. I
I
don't know.
think it was. So someone counted it up, and it was something like 16 hours a day or something, or like maybe 18 hours a
Jesus
day
Christ.
if it was between like January and October, which is when it's measured, I think.
Jeez,
So
that's
it's
mental, honestly.
so it's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
They must have been a Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah,
Taylor Swift fans are different.
but yeah, my top five are very multicultural. We've got three languages in there. You know, got the
Yeah,
if you can see that. Can you
yeah,
see
I
that?
can see. I
Got
can't
Drake
see
up
that.
the top, then Ralph and Fike, Kanye West, Basta, and Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny very good as well.
Yeah, mine was hilarious because it reads like the most basic ass list, right?
Yeah,
The most basic. Like if you had to name five artists, the basicest artist, it would be these five. And I'm just bringing it up right now. My top five artists: Drake, Kanye West, DJ Khaled, Migos, and Eminem.
oh my
You
god,
cannot name.
Hannah.
And I don't know why Eminem is there. I don't listen to that much Eminem. I don't know why Eminem is there. But like he must be my top song is an intro, which Artem pointed
Oh my
out.
god, actually that annoyed me so much because I was like, Hanu, ow.
Because it's a banger and it's like 2 minutes long. So I just kept listening to that on repeat. My second song is also 2 minutes long, and it's just yeah. My top genres were hilarious because they are wait. My top genres are. It says I listen to 68 genres, right?
Yeah.
But my top number one pop rap, number two gangster rap, number three German hip hop, number four underground hip hop, which I don't know what underground shit I listen to. Number five Canadian hip hop.
Yeah. So
So it's like
it's like
um
all your
yeah
genres are
man.
the Spider-Man meme where they're just all pointing at each other because it's the
They're
same
all just
thing.
pointing at each other. Exactly. Yeah. But no, German rap. I'm an expert in German rap now, and
Oh yeah.
soon I hope that'll be the case with Russian rap. German
Oh
rap is
yeah.
very good.
Yeah. No, German rap is very good. I like a lot of them, man. Yeah, I like that song you sent me
Yeah,
on Billie Holiday. That's a good one.
that's hard.
That is
Yeah,
hard,
it's a good
hard,
song.
hard. Alexesh, main man from Ukraine slash
Yeah, Alexei is good.
slash Russia.
Alexei is pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, philosophy. We'll talk about philosophy for a little bit because I think we still got time. Um, so yeah, it's like the thing with philosophy is what philosophy did you learn first of all, so that we can be on the same page.
Oh, so this is gonna be like it's the most bullshit easiest philosophy that you learned. It's like the first class you walk in and you know your teacher's like, right, so imagine you're standing at a train track and there's someone who's about to die on the train track and you can switch to a different train track but someone else dies. Do you switch it or just leave
Yeah,
it? And most people be like, oh, leave it. And then it gets to the point where it's like, oh, what if there's two people on the train track and you can switch it for one to be killed? Would you still do it? Or like, would you do it? And then it ends up being like
yeah,
these whole questions about like, oh, what if this one was your mom? What if that one was your brother?
yeah.
Like, what if this one was whoever? What if that was a dog? What was that? What like you know? It gets into these really really stupid scenarios that never happen, but it's meant to
E-
open your mind.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
yeah, so like that is about as like maybe we learned more, but that's all I remember. That's the only thing because I remember sitting
Yeah,
next to the guy beside me and I was just like, man, this is the most stupid shit that I have ever
exactly,
thought of in my life.
exactly. Like that. So yours was pretty introductory. I This was supposed to be an introductory course, but we have talked about all like the fundamentals of Western philosophy.
Okay.
Read too much of it um, over like 3.5 months. So yeah, it's been painful to say the least. And it's the same because what if I was a jet engine? I'm not. It's very simple. Like you're asking, like you said, the questions they deal with, right? So the first thing we talked about was, are the mind and the body the same? Very simple question. Okay.
Okay.
It's a question. First of all, a lot of these questions you're never going to have a real answer to. Is there God? I don't know. Okay. I do not know. Right? Do we have free will? I don't really know. We're never going to know, right? But then, fine, you try to answer them.
But the free will one, why don't you have free will? What's stopping you from having free will?
But so that's the thing. So, like, free will, some say there's different things. So some say that everything is determined.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that could be like through your fate or destiny,
I
or your
get
life
you.
is just written. That's one type. So there's two. There's basically determinism, which is that everything's written,
Okay.
and there's free will.
Okay.
And then there's like 500 different groups within that. So some think that there's both, some think that there's only one, some think that there's only the other. So one thing is that one determinism thing is that everything that happens is based on just bodily things, just your nerves and shit, right? So you never really have choice. Um, Others say everything is luck, others say whatever. And then the free will people say that, you know what, fam? Nah, I have choice. I have choice, right? So they make decent arguments, but then, like, academia just turns it into this very academic, like, very theoretical exercise when philosophy is about life, right? So do you think you have free will, right? Okay, I can pick this up. That's free will. I think I have free will, right? When you start adding just random shit, like you said, it stops making sense and it leaves the realm of reality.
Yeah.
like anyone can make up these scenarios. So like the thing we're dealing with right now, my paper, right? So there's this philosophy called utilitarianism.
Okay.
Big word, very hard to spell. And that guy basically says that, listen, man, the goal of life is happiness. Do shit that makes others happy. Don't do shit that makes others unhappy. Simple, right?
Okay.
Fair enough. But then, so first of all, this poor guy had to write like 700 pages to qualify that very simple statement. And then there are people that oppose that. Then there are people which say that, but how do you quantify happiness? And they're like, but how do you do this? How do you do that? This is way too much effort for me. I don't know what, like, so they just take these very simple things, they make it too convoluted. And this very simple this very simple statement, somehow we got to a point where now the question is, if child labor made society happy, would these people say that permit child labor? How senseless of a question is that, right? Like that just makes, how does that tie into it? How does that disprove that happiness is a good thing, or that happiness should be the goal of life, right?
Yeah.
Plus on top of that, you have like every argument needs to be structured in like a super similar way, which is, arguments are structured in mad different ways, right? You can't have a single structure for everything. It's just, philosophy is supposed to be super flexible. Everyone has their own thought process, right? But they just try to do too much with it, man. Try to
Yeah.
do too much with it.
Definitely.
And it is fun at times, but like at other times it's like, fam, chill out, chill out.
I was really hoping that the essay that you're writing right now would have been about whether free will exists, because then I would have just told you, write on your paper, like just turn in like a sheet that just says yes, free will exists and this proves it, because that
Yeah,
would win. Because that would
that
win.
that would win. It would win. Yeah, it would win. Like it's like mad of these questions are just like, would you justify child labor? No.
Yeah.
Simple, right? But it's like, no, you have to write 1,000 words on that shit, and it's like, fam.
But this is the thing. It's like the one that I don't get is like, would child labor make society happy? But it's not making everybody happy because it can't make the children happy. So
Exactly. Yeah.
surely the person who
Yeah.
says, "What if it did?" but it doesn't. So it's like your argument's gone because
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
got
Exactly.
started.
Like you can make anything up. That's what I'm saying. Like, what if I was an elephant? I'm
Yeah.
not. It doesn't. It can't happen. But no, that's not. That's not. You can't do that.
Okay, is there anything from your philosophy class that you actually like fully agree with, that you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense and I completely get that, because I'm happy to just debate you on it right now, even though I don't know the topic pre-hand, and
Okay, that's a good
I'll
one.
just go straight after
It's
you.
like it's like there were
Okay.
loads of topics, and you discuss all sides of them. So there was free will. Free will exists, doesn't exist.
Okay.
There was a there was this one on like whether we had Aristotle and them, which was like politics and shit, which is how humans behave,
Yeah.
and then that led to this whole life goal thing, right? But one dude had this really interesting point, right?
Mhm.
Which is hard to disagree with. He said that the humans that used to exist mad long ago, like the primal humans, he said that they are not only a very different species to us, but he's saying that they were the natural humans.
Yeah.
Like you could not be unhappy in that situation because you had everything you needed. So he was saying that humans were essentially just individual creatures, right? And then with gradual things, they learned to forage for food and stuff. They made communities, and then somehow we reached this stage. But he's saying that naturally, it's not the correct state for us to be in this because of how we started. And it was really interesting to think about, because and he said that that human would feel so terrible in today's world, and we would feel so terrible in that world.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's two different species, really. And that was really interesting thing that guy said. He was also saying that all humans are intrinsically good, which is something I agree with.
Yeah.
That could be debatable, but like, I don't know. I just think all people are generally nice.
I think it's a good
Um,
assumption to have anyway. Like, you shouldn't be assuming that anyone is bad until at least
yeah, exactly.
you understand that they're doing something bad. But it's interesting to say that
Yeah,
they're two different species, because I just see that as like a that is just purely an example of evolution. Like, it is the same species, just
yeah,
we've gone so
yeah.
far
You can say that
evolved.
as well.
Like, the way the way I see it is like he says that everyone would have been happy back then, but I don't think so. Like, because people wouldn't have evolved if they were happy with the state they were in. Like,
Yeah,
the reason that humans have evolved this far, and the reason that we have so much innovation in, you know, from
yeah,
the discovery of fire to, sharpening tools to kill animals for food and all this stuff is because we've always wanted more, right? First, if
yeah,
it was out of necessity, and then it's for pleasure and everything else. It's like it's gotten to the point where like we just want more. Like we want everything to be much easier for us all the time, and
yeah,
we're never happy. And that's the thing. It's like hu-
yeah,
the way I look at it is that humans were never happy and never will be happy, no matter how far advanced we are. Like if me and you
yeah.
went 100 years into the future and found out that people don't die anymore, like you can just live as long as you want, and like
Mm-hmm.
actually like you actually don't need to leave your house to do anything. Like you can, like even exercising has gotten to the point where like you can just pick the body you want. You don't need to do anything else. People are never going to be happy.
Yeah.
Like it's you know we're constantly evolving to want more. So I disagree with
Yeah.
the guy from your class to say that we were happy at one
Yeah,
point because
that's
I don't believe it.
yeah, no, the funny thing, I said the same thing in like to the professor, and she actually it was a very simple explanation, and that was the theory of evolution hadn't been presented when that dude was alive, so like
Yeah.
makes sense. Evolution itself hadn't really been Darwin wasn't the thing at that point, but it's like yeah, see these discussions about philosophy they're very fun, and when we like talk about it in class, that's fun as well because you're
Yeah.
talking, you're learning, and so on, right? But then the other parts of it are. Not as fun. The free will thing to me is like is interesting, right? Because
Okay. Let's get into that. Right. You have to pick a side. Pick one. Yeah. I'll let you pick
okay,
whichever one you
so
want.
right, so probably unfair, right? Um, Mine is that there's both. So that's the compatibilist view, which is that there is free will.
does that mean I have to say there's neither?
No, um, I don't know. We can if there's not a debate, then there's probably something else we can fight over,
Okay,
right?
no,
But
that's fine. You can say either, but give your spiel and
yeah, yeah. My
we'll talk
spiel
about
is
it.
basically my spiel is basic, and apparently this view isn't like actual white guy philosophers. They don't give much credence to this view,
Right. Okay.
which is sad, right? So when you take it to the destiny or the fate point of view, right? I feel like there's certain shit you can control, a lot of shit you can control, but there's mad shit you can't control. So it's a mixture of both. Certain things are predetermined, certain good things and bad things just happen, but that doesn't mean that life is predetermined, right? It doesn't mean that there's no point in trying, doesn't mean that there's no use of anything because there is a lot that you can change,
Yeah.
right? And this is apparently in line with how the Buddhists and the Indians back in the day thought. And their explanation was that there's mad shit from your past life that you either suffer or gain from in this life,
Okay.
but there's also a lot you can do in this life to help you or hurt you in this life. Their thing was do good, good will happen, do bad, bad will happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So because a lot of times bad things happen to us and we have no explanation. They just happen, we're just sad, like why did this happen to me? And there's no way you could have prevented that, right? So there are a lot of things that are unavoidable, a lot of things that we can't choose. But to say that all life is predetermined, to say that everything has been written, I don't think that's fair. What do you think?
No, I completely agree with you. Like, there's some things like this is the thing
Nice debate.
because you've gone for both. I can't disagree with you
Yeah,
because like had you said there's free will, then I would have made arguments like but what about
yeah,
laws and everything that's restricting your free wills. And then if I was on the other side and you'd said that, I would have been like, well, yeah, there's laws in place, but that doesn't stop you from killing someone. It just means you have to suffer the
exactly.
consequences.
Yeah,
So like
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had the debate both ways in my head, right? So I was ready for whichever way you were gonna say it. But I agree with the fact that there's both because like I had this debate with a lot of people before because like there's a few of my friends and stuff like that who'd be very left leaning, who would be like like they would be more like socialist, communist, and then I also have a lot of friends that are like
Yeah,
very like you know far right in terms of the economic
yeah,
standpoint and stuff like that. And Like, to be honest, I'm more right leaning. Like, I think that free market
Yeah,
is the way to go. But having said that, I do understand the arguments for both ways. Like, it's if you're born into a family that isn't rich and you're not put into a good school, like it significantly hampers what you can achieve in life. But the
yeah,
only thing is that doesn't mean that you can like you should sit around do nothing and get elevated for no reason. I think that everybody, regardless of if you're born in the poorest family in the country or the richest family in the country, whether that country is
yeah,
Ireland or India or Russia or Nigeria or anywhere else in the world, what you do will determine how far you can take things. Like, you could be given a
yeah,
fortune and you could blow it all and end up homeless. You could be given nothing, build your own way up, educate yourself, and
yeah,
get yourself into a good job. And whether that just brings you up from being in a really poor family, just a middle class where you own your own house or have an apartment, have a family, all that kind of stuff, that's still, I would consider that a huge success, right?
yeah,
But so like I believe that like when you're born, the family you're in, what country you're born in, what city you're born in makes a huge
yeah,
difference. But I think that from that moment everything's on you. I think that
yeah. That's fair.
from that moment, like okay, yeah, you might have people you just hang around with at the start and stuff like that, but you should be able to elevate yourself from any position to a higher position. I'm not saying that you
Yeah,
can go
man.
from
Like,
the very bottom to the very top in 10 years, but you should be able to
yeah,
go
no,
up a
it's
ladder.
like, yeah, it's like, and I have a question for you that I'm sure will be a great debate. It's not in my philosophy thing, but it's a very philosophical question, right? So the thing with this sort of determinism thing, personally to me, right?
Yeah,
First of all, the thought that everything is predetermined is depressing to me.
yeah,
It's depressing because I don't want to know that whatever I'm doing has already been written. So you sort of want to feel some sort of thing to that, right? And the second is a lot of people use it as a cop out for stuff. Oh, you know what, whatever will happen. There's no point in trying.
yeah,
And a couple of Indian saints did say that it's the weak person who says that this is just fate.
yeah.
Strong men have the capacity to change their fate, right? Which may sound a bit harsh. There are definitely bad things that happen, things that we can't control. But to say that it's all predetermined doesn't really like it doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit right, right? And it's like luck plays a huge, it's the same, it's the same way of that debate, the luck versus hard work debate. It's the same exact thing, just put in a different wrapper, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, so it's like you have luck, but it's also contingent upon how you work, or hopefully it is at least. But the other debate, right?
but like just in terms of luck,
Yeah,
like
go on.
I don't want to make this sound like I've done anything in my life that's mad significant or anything because I haven't, not yet
Yeah,
anyway. But I always find that I'm much more lucky when I've worked hard for something. And at this point, it
yeah,
doesn't feel like luck anymore because it's like I've worked really hard for something and now something's coming to me. That surely
yeah,
cannot be luck if that's how if it
yeah,
works. Like,
yeah. Luck is, I guess, the word that we assign to everything which we cannot control, basically.
yeah,
So I am hoping that my good luck will help Spartak win, right?
yeah,
But at the end of the day, it does not matter. It's the 11 players they're going to play.
exactly.
Fucking hope that they play well,
Yeah,
right? But if Spartak lose 7 games in a row, I'm going to say that's my bad luck. When in reality, it doesn't have much to do with me at all, right? But
doesn't
then
have
people
much
also
to
say
do with
bad
you.
luck.
I'd almost argue it has nothing to do with you.
Nothing. It has nothing to do with me. Um,
Like, I can't imagine. Like,
but
I imagine there is someone making all these decisions, right? And like, oh, well, you gotta take the Hanu tax off.
But that's how we act. That is how we act, though. That's why we like cross our fingers and stuff. We're like, if there is a God, like, can He just give me, keep me in mind with that.
Yeah,
Um, but people also say bad luck for like fucking, I don't know, natural calamities, catastrophes. I think that can be attributed to luck, right? I guess that's fair.
yeah, definitely.
Um, some people work super hard, they don't get anything off of it. There's debates to be had there, right? Um, but I think there's like you say, right? It should be about reducing luck.
Yeah,
You should do you should reduce the sort of uncertainty. Do as much as you can to reduce the uncertainty, right? So that luck can only account, like it's like an exam, right?
Yeah.
If you work hard for the exam, it'll be easy. But then if you sort of hold it out for luck, oh, I hope that I'm lucky enough to get an easy paper, guess what? Not going to work out. It's like you say, right?
Yeah.
Um, but my other question is, do you think there is a God?
Uh,
It can be any God, just anything that's above, higher.
no, I don't. To be honest, like, I grew up in a family like my dad died when I was 10 years old, and my mom has always been very religious. She works in a church and stuff like that. So I've always
Yeah,
been around church and like God symbols and stuff like that. My mom still puts prayers in
yeah,
my car and stuff. Like I got a new car. Like okay, it's not new anymore. It's probably like more than
respect.
half a year old. But like I got to the car and she put a prayer in there and stuff like that. So like always been exposed to God and like external things and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
I just don't believe in it. Like the more I think about it, the more stupid it is. Like, and granted, I've been exposed mainly to Christianity, which is probably the most bullshit religion that exists
yes,
ever. Because
yes,
like just from like reading small sections of the Bible, where God in the Old Testament is just a fucking prick and he's trying to kill all his people, and then in the New Testament he's just somehow this lovely bloke. Like
yeah,
it's like these are fictional stories that people have taken on board and now live their lives by them, and
yeah,
like it just makes absolutely no sense to me. Like I believe in things like, for example, I don't know, like even like I don't know if I believe in karma fully, but like I believe more in that kind of stuff where like things go around, the things that go around come back around, that kind of stuff, more so
yeah,
than I would believe in there's a guy in the sky who's like making things happen. I don't believe that for a second. Like
yeah,
it's a really weird one. Like sometimes I'm like, I had a lot of Muslim friends growing up, so like I've always been exposed to Islam as well, and I've joined them on some of their prayers during Ramadan and stuff like
respect.
that. And I love the traditions. I honestly think Islam is one of the most beautiful religions for that kind of stuff. But saying that,
Yeah,
I don't follow any of their philosophy. I think it's like I also think it's absolute bullshit. Like why the fuck am I not drinking? Like what's gonna stop
yeah,
me from drinking? Or like why do why are we supposed to hate gay people? I don't get it. Like what's
yeah,
the problem here? So like I don't believe in any religious philosophy. I think that they're all sort of bullshit, and I think that like people say a lot of religious people say like look, if religion didn't exist, people wouldn't have a moral compass, which is also complete bullshit because
that's
so,
not true.
atheists are some of the calmest people I know, and religion has been the cause of so many wars.
Yeah,
So like I've never looked into other religions, like for example Buddhism or stuff like that. So like
yeah,
maybe there's one out there for me, but I have not met it.
yeah.
Like every religion I've
I
been
might
exposed to
have,
is
you know what,
bullshit. Like
over over the winter break, I'm going to try to convert, like every episode I'm choosing a new religion for Artem.
mm,
I'm gonna give him the breakdown of Buddhism next week. Then Hinduism, we're gonna need like 3 weeks, but whatever, right? But
yeah,
like Hinduism is, which is the religion I follow, and you can see there's two gods right there, right? And so with God, like I don't believe that there's a guy in the sky. I
yeah.
don't, right? But like, do you think there's no higher power at all? Doesn't have to be a guy. Do you just think that whatever is here, that's it? All this other shit that we keep saying is ultimately just fucking, I don't know, superstition.
I'd be open to a scenario where the Earth is just an atom in a larger universe, and the atoms in our universe act the same way as the Earth is in that universe. Like, I'm open to the fact that we might
Yeah,
be completely useless and tiny things that actually have no bearing on anything. But like, at the end of the day, what the hell does that matter? Like, like
exactly.
I
That's
but
beautiful. See, you. Yeah, exactly. Go on, go on, go on.
What I'm trying to say is like I don't think that there's any decisions being made on our behalf out there. I think that this life came about naturally. I think it came about
Yeah,
through the way the science says, with the you know
yeah,
with a large gas explosion, and somehow we're one of the only planets, or the only planet as of now that we know of that has life on it. But like, no doubt that there's other places that have life on them, and
yeah, for sure.
it's just one of these things where I don't believe that there's anyone out there making decisions or controlling any of this. I genuinely just think that this is a mistake that's gone too far, and nothing that we actually do on this earth actually makes any difference to anybody. But like, we're here, and we may as well keep our
But
germs or
yeah, that's
species alive for as long as possible.
exactly because it's some of those super, some super depressing philosophy motherfuckers. They try to come up to you
Yeah,
and say that life is ultimately meaningless.
yeah,
I'm like, listen, your life might be meaningless, but I find a lot of meaning in it, so let me live, right?
yeah.
It's all I have. I'm not going to live my life as a fucking ascetic for you, right? But
But even then,
going
like,
back to, yeah,
we say life is meaningless, and ultimately, probably it is. Yeah, but do you not
yeah,
enjoy like spending time with your family? Do you not
exactly, man,
enjoy football and
exactly,
stuff like that? Like,
yeah,
if you enjoy all these things, right, it doesn't make a difference if it's meaningless in the end or anything. Like, at the end of the day,
yeah,
there's
exactly,
loads of ways to score how well someone is doing in life. To one person, success is loads of money. To one person, success is having a big family.
yeah,
To one person, it's free time. Like, everybody's got a different scoreboard that they're keeping on, and I feel like if you have a relatively balanced scoreboard where you're making decent money, you've got good freedom, you've got a nice family, and you love what you're doing, whether that be your hobbies or your job, then why are you trying to make it out like it's meaningless when you're enjoying yourself doing
exactly,
it?
man, yeah, exactly. Like meaning is self-defined, man.
Yeah,
Meaning is self-defined. Like I don't, and it's like it's stupid to assume that one life can have a meaning for an entire universe.
yeah.
Like that's just dumbass to assume. But so going back to, we'll talk about philosophy every week now because there's no football to talk about. But this is fun. Um, if you're
I'm
up
not
for it,
gonna
of
lie.
course.
I enjoy this part of the podcast a lot more than the Russian football part sometimes.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, same. That's the same for me, right? Um,
But saying
so
that, it's
going,
like the Russian
yeah, go on.
football part is like this is the beautiful part. That's like that gives it a bit of structure. But I just
Yeah,
don't know
and
if
then
it should
everything
be in the
else is
same
just
episodes. I think we maybe in future we'll have to record the Russian football part, which is like an update, and then the shit talk for the
yeah,
week.
man. But like after next week, there's no Russian football.
Well, then that means
It's
we get
gone.
to just talk shit for 8 weeks or something.
Exactly.
But I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah, that's fair. I get you. I get you. So yeah, like wrapping up on not wrapping up, I guess, giving my perspective, right? So I'm sure there's Indians in Ireland. I know there are Indians in Ireland,
No, there's
and
none.
the you, their prime their prime minister is Indian, and I'm saying dumb shit like that. Um, but like, so Hinduism is typically presented to be like, if you ask someone, so that the typical person will say that Hinduism believes in many gods,
Yeah,
right? That's what you've heard, right? But if you look, and by the way, this is not a defense of any religion or whatever, because my country is getting fucked right now due to religious extremism.
yeah,
And like the way it is, I would rather there be no God than the way it is right now, right? But if you if you go back to the roots, if you go back to the center, right? Hinduism is actually, it doesn't believe in God. It does not, it has gods in it, but these aren't gods like created the world type gods. These are just like dudes with superhuman powers. Gods in like, the Marvel universe sense.
mm.
And they die, they come back, they have
Sorry, I was
they
gonna say
have
something a bit rude.
now go on.
I was gonna say the book for Hinduism is just a comic book.
That's the thing, like first, Hinduism is weird as fuck because first of all, it was never meant to be a religion. It just had
Yeah,
loads of stories and dudes just saying stuff.
yeah,
It's not even a religion. It's just a belief system, just loads of different ideas that somehow came together.
yeah,
Um, and our two sort of main books are, this would probably land me in jail in this country, but they're very simple. They're just good versus evil stories. So they're like the original comic book essentially.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just there's kings and there's queens and they're fighting each other, and there some of their one of them is the largest text ever written. So
Okay.
right, so it's like that. But at its core, Hinduism just believes that, like your universe point, it says that there is a universe and God is the ultimate form is the universe, right? But individually the ultimate form is the self. We are the self,
Okay.
and the self is every part of the universe has a self, the self has every part of the universe, which is why it's a common belief here that everything has God in it, every person has God in it, every atom basically has God in it. So it's a way of saying that we're all part of the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And the ultimate goal basically, which they say, is to realize the self, and to just realize the self, and how that self is realized is through good action and doing good, and ultimately that sort of just gives you liberation, right? It Because at the end you die, you become a part of the thing. Now there's other schools of thought. So like the Buddhists, they say that life is actually like bad, and the goal, like life is just a cycle of rebirth again and again, and to escape that you need to just escape all of life, and then you just become liberated, right?
Okay, yeah. I'm
But
not
that's
into
like,
that then.
yeah, not into that, right? That's like super fantasy stuff. But here what we're believing is that there is universe, and this universe has primarily two things. It has a law and it has time. So it exists within time,
Yeah.
right? That's one thing. And it has a law. This is the main one. And this law is everything. There's a natural law, right? There are like laws of gravity, laws of science, and all of that. Then there's human laws. There are just laws that you have to abide by, right? And if you do things in accordance with those laws, so destroying the environment, let's say, is not in accordance with those laws, right? So you do good things happen to you, good things keep happening to you, you achieve success or whatever, so on and so forth, right? And you do bad things keep happening to you,
Yeah.
right? So that is the core, right? But it took me like 15 minutes to give you a very simple breakdown of that. So what these dudes did is they came up with these gods and these figures to represent all of these different concepts, right?
Okay.
So we have a god whose name is literally time, right? So they created a god for time, they created a god for happiness, they created a god for this, for that, just so people could understand it easier,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It would be easier like that. And what happened was that over time people started taking these gods as literal stuff. So most people that follow Hinduism today would believe that the gods behind me,
Yeah.
there's like a literal dude with an elephant for a head and a human body out there, right? I am named after a god who has a monkey head, a tail, and like regular body, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But there is this acceptance in the old text that these are just symbols for stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
These are just symbols for stuff. These are just symbols to describe how the universe is and how it, I guess, executes itself, right? But at its core, all there is a universe. It exists in time,
Yeah.
and the religion is to just listen, man, do good shit. Don't kill people. Don't do that, so on. But the thing is that there is something greater than us, which
Okay.
is karma or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There is something greater than us. We are not the ultimate power. So if you do something, you will get the result of that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
the thing that gives the result is, of course, like, the higher power and stuff. So that's the original shit,
Yeah,
which I hope I didn't
and
bore you
what?
with that.
No, no, that's really interesting
Yeah.
actually. Like, what is this higher power? Like, is it like I don't know, like is like obviously it's not like Christianity where there's just one dude with a beard in the sky.
Yeah, no, it's not
It's
really.
more like I don't know, like almost like a natural energy or something like that. Like
It is, yeah. It's that. It basically is that. Because I think, and I pray to all the gods and stuff. I be leaning into the prayers as well, right? That we be doing. But at the end of the day, I think I realized that it's not a dude, but it's some sort of just energy or whatever,
mm,
which is non-linear, which isn't like gravity, I guess, right? Which does respond to callings,
yeah,
which does make shit happen, which does stuff, that cannot be explained, and
Yeah.
either so it's definitely not a dude. It's just energy or the universe as a whole, or whatever laws which is a lot more believable, by the way, than a dude in the sky, right? Like it's almost hard to deny that there
Yeah.
is
Like
a natural law.
one of the things that always strikes me is like we talked about this earlier, right and wrong and stuff like that. I still think right and
Yeah.
wrong would still be a thing, even if religion never existed. Like I still think people
Yeah.
wouldn't go out and hurt each other and stuff like that. And I almost feel like the fact that we naturally know that it's almost like whether it's a mental thing where you know you've done something wrong and you end
Yeah.
up getting a consequence for that, or whether
Yeah.
you know other people know you've done something wrong and you get a consequence for it. Like that's a much more realistic thing to believe in than some fucking dude in the sky who's just making these stupid decisions all this time. Like,
Yeah.
that's I don't know. Like, see, like if I grew up following a religion like Hinduism the way you describe it there, then maybe I'd be more religious. But I just like it's gotten to the point
Yeah.
where I just think that every religion, every organized religion, is a
Yeah.
scam
100%.
because so many of them are money grabs and so many of them it's like they just prey
100%.
on people who are actually believing in something, but
100%.
they're
Yeah.
just taken from them and you know making it sound
Yeah.
like
That's
you finish up and you go to heaven. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
it's not. Yeah. It's like that's like people don't recognize this. They see it at surface value. They kill other people based on religions. It's happening here, man. Our ruling party has that rhetoric, right?
Yeah,
They're super just they claim to represent religion, but it's also very annoying because you're claiming to represent a religion that goes against everything that you're doing, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like these saints are fucking scamming people, killing people, causing harm. Like their religion is just a PR technique for them, basically. It's the God has left the religion like mad long ago, right?
It sounds like it. Yeah,
So we've talked about, I think, this before, and we said that, listen, man, spirituality is good, belief in God is good, but we're just so far away from where we started that this religion, it doesn't do anything good at this point.
yeah.
So then, yeah,
I don't know. Like it is such a weird thing. Like it was kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a little bit liberating hearing you discuss what you
yeah,
believe in, because like I completely get it. Like
yeah,
um, and maybe I'll read the Hindu texts or something and and convert myself too, but I wouldn't bet on it. Like
yeah.
for me, it's just like
Oh, yeah, it's like that's fair.
religion's
I'm
never
not.
been a massive thing. I feel like I could do
Yeah, no, no.
enough good with my
Without it, yeah, fair.
down
That's
to
fair.
earth thoughts
And yeah, and that's
than
the.
in the sky.
This would sound like I'm trying to convert you further into it, right? But the thing is, the reason why Hinduism has stayed alive for so long, and you'll know this, like it's because that it has no entry rules, and it has no punishment, it has no rules, it has no sort of, it doesn't place any compulsion on you. There has historically been no taboo in it. Like we have that, that Kama Sutra book they keep talking about.
Yeah,
It's just a huge ass book about how to, a massive ass book just about sexuality, right? Written what, 2,000 years ago.
yeah,
uh like our people, we there's nothing prohibiting drinking, there's nothing prohibiting anything, basically.
yeah,
It's super liberal, and with time it has become debauched to the point where it's just become bad.
yeah.
um but originally it's like super liberal, like you don't have to believe in shit. It's just, which is
See.
nice.
I like that. I don't like people who are like gatekeeping things from
Yeah,
things, and like for like so many friends of mine who are Muslim and stuff like that. Like they'd break their fast on Ramadan, or like they wouldn't do their 5 prayers a day, or like you know they drink now and
yeah,
again, or like eat some chicken that isn't halal. Like
yeah,
it's just like you're bringing it down to these really really stupid things that like I've never
yeah,
met a person who I saw eating non halal chicken and thought that's a bad person. He hasn't done anything wrong.
yeah,
Like it's that kind of thing where like I don't know. I just Like I don't get it. I don't get when religions are like, oh yeah, like you won't go to heaven if you do this.
Yeah, it's like it's and it's sad because that's become the norm now.
It
You
has,
know,
yeah,
it's become the norm. Yeah, it's
absolutely.
become the norm here as well. There's people fighting over all kinds of trivial shit that apparently the text said, but they really didn't.
Yeah,
It is just sad. Just sad.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, thank you for joining me for that. Which was supposed to be a bitching about philosophy, it turned into a discussion about philosophy.
I think we should turn this into a
Um,
book club, Hanu. We should like read
yeah, we should. That'd be fun.
a religious text once a week.
Yeah, no, because it's the range is fun. We discussed we discussed the metaverse the last time. Now we're down to
That's
God.
the real religion now.
Zuck is Jesus. Zuck
Exactly.
is Jesus. Um, but yeah, man, good talk. Thanks. If anyone's still listening, honestly, fair play, man. Um, but yeah, next week we'll hopefully be back with more things that don't have anything to do with Russian football. Um,
Yeah, like it is the last week,
yeah,
so that we are gonna have a lot of Russian football to talk about. Last week before the
yeah,
winter break, and the European games obviously would be a big thing, and the first knockouts will be announced shortly after.
yeah.
So we'll have a lot to talk about, but
Hopefully,
we will also
hopefully Spartak are
hopefully,
in the.
yeah, fingers crossed. We will hopefully have a guest on next week or the week after that. Obviously, with the winter break, there's not going to be much to talk about.
Yeah,
Like last year, we're probably going to still do the podcast once every week or once every 2 weeks and just talk about stuff. Um, I personally just like
yeah,
talking about this kind of stuff. To be honest, I kind of time and time
yeah,
again, I just think to myself like, shit, we should really split these into two different podcasts. Have a Russian football one
yeah,
and have one where people just listen to us, because I do think it's prohibiting, one audience from listening to one thing,
yeah,
and another audience to listen to another thing. And look, don't get me wrong, I don't think that there's many people out there who want to listen to our opinions on life, but if there's even one,
yeah,
it might be worth it doing.
yeah. That's very fair. Um, so yeah, thanks everyone for listening. And we'll hopefully join you next week. Leave a like. Don't leave a dislike. God does not like you leaving dislikes.
That's true, actually. The one rule in Hinduism is that you never leave a
Exactly. No,
dislike.
you never leave a dislike. You never leave a dislike. All right.
And on that note, we'll see you all next week.
See you.